All right, it's Friday. Friday. It's a Rebecca Black, right? Got to get down on Friday. Everybody's looking, waiting for the weekend. Or am I doing? Is that Loverboy now? All right. Let's before I lose all of you, let's get to doing something. Look at all these memories. Remember Finish Love? That was a good one. Remember the Eiffel Tower? Remember the Eiffel Tower? We found out like Purdue engineering was wrong. That was fun. All right, let's do this one. Greenhouse effect. I use search with Google Lens a lot. I like it. You can also do it on your phone. That's one reason I show it. On your phone, there's a long line at the bottom. You just sort of long press that long line. Long press the long line, like your thumb or something. Phone goes dim. Circle what you want. Just follow the same process on your phone. Sometimes when you do AI overview, sometimes just describes the thing. That's fine. You want to hop over to AI mode, usually, if you want to do a deeper investigation. I know I keep saying that. I don't mean to dig on AI overview a bunch, and I'm sorry if that always seems like I am, but AI overview has to be served across every single Google search across the world. And it's just not going to apply the resources that you need to actually get the answer that you need. And so we get this first response here, and we say, it says the 1982 CBS News report. So first of all, let me say something here. What is the claim here? This is something, if you're doing this in a class, this is something that you want to stop before you even do this. You want to stop with your students and say, hey, what's the claim here? The claim is not, your students might say, oh, the claim is that 25% of Florida would be underwater. That's the claim. No, that's not the claim. That's not the claim. The claim here is implied, right? The claim here is implied. The claim here is pretty complex, actually. The claim here is that since back in 1982, Dan Rather said apparently by now 25% of Florida would be underwater, and since it's very apparent that 25% of Florida is not underwater, that the predictions of climate change that we're seeing now are not good and are alarmist. And there are a lot of alarmist predictions around climate change, not from scientists, but from some of these, if you look at like Extinction Rebellion or some of that stuff, a lot of the stuff they put out is just absolutely, I don't know, like into like a libel suit doing these things, but I would not trust it. But the question is here, scientists, right? Scientists are just unreliable, and all these predictions have been alarmist and overstepping and so forth. And so the claim here is that the prediction is not the claim. The claim here is that the prediction is evidence that current predictions are alarmist, right? If they made this prediction in the past and it clearly hasn't come to pass, then, so forth. Okay, so we actually get this. Should we look at this? A lot of times I say throw the first one away, but what I actually do often is I just scan like maybe the first paragraph and see if it gets me somewhere. 1982 CBS News report did air, but the specific claim that 25% of Florida would be underwater by a near future date, like 2025, is an exaggeration. I'm going to just stick with this first one. I'm not going to do our stuff yet, because news articles warned of widespread disruption, but a specific near-term date in percentage, 25% by 2025, are not clearly attributed to the original broadcast. It's likely that this was a hypothetical worst-case scenario. Okay, so now it's kind of doing a little hand-waving. So when I see the hand-waving, I get to wanting to do a follow-up, right? When I see anything that kind of gets a little hedgy around there, I'm like, okay, let's get into specifics. That's like my sign that like I'm done reading this first response. But let's go a little deeper, right? Let's get past the hedginess and let's get into evaluate evidence for the claim that this broadcast predicted 25% of Florida would be underwater by now. Let's start with that. We could do a broader claim, but let's do this narrow claim and see what it gives us. And provide a table with citations. All right, let's see what it does. Friday. I need a soundtrack. Predicted 25% of water to be underwater by now is not supported by evidence. It appears to be a misinterpretation or exaggeration of the original segment. The 1982 report predicted, so here's the claim that we'd be underwater by now. The actual report but did not specify a 25% figure or the 2025 for this outcome. All right. The prediction for 2025 was worst case scenario. And this is a little confusing, the way it's laid out. That never materialized. Scientists currently project significant sea level rise, but over a much longer time frame. Projections for a 10% inundation of Florida are likely by 2100, so by the end of this century, and that's only 10%. So that's interesting. That seems to be a little bit less than even the 25, right? 10%, 25%. So it does seem like that this report was a bit off, but this is a place where Florida would be completely submerged underwater by now. Submerged water would require several hundred feet, which was not predicted by any scientific models. Sea level in Florida has risen by about 7 inches and is currently accelerating 1 inch every 3 years. All right. Let's just see the original video. We could also just break out to search and try to find this video. But I've had some luck with AI mode. Yeah, I say I've had some luck and then it doesn't. Let's search this and then look for videos. All right, I think we found it.
My wife can't stop staring at me since I started wearing these pants.
Concern about rising temperatures on planet Earth heated up a hearing here in Washington today. For years, scientists have theorized about the dangers of the so-called greenhouse effect, the warming of the Earth's atmosphere.
Florida.
5% of Florida would be flooded sometime in the next century.
Okay, do you hear that? 25%. So it does say 25% of Florida flooded sometime in the next century, which would be before 2100. How does that compare, actually, to what we saw? I think it might have made a mistake. 1980, okay, the actual report and commentary on it indicates it warned of widespread disruption of agriculture in Florida about to be flooded, but did not specify a 25% figure. It did specify a 25% figure. So this is an example of where the track it down piece is important. It's still important. This is a map, right? This is a map of what we think we know, right? This is a summary map of what we might know, right? But it's not absolute truth. And so in this case here, this particular assertion that it did not specify a 25% figure is wrong, is provably wrong. Here it is right here. We'll do it again.
5% of Florida would be flooded some
catastrophe.
If these scientists are correct, about 25% of Florida would be flooded sometime in the next century, along with low-lying areas all over the world.
Yeah. So this is so again, what do we do here? We got a map to help us think about the issues, and I do think that having the map gave us something to check. Right? We figured, okay, so look, 25%. We have something here. And then we go and we check if this is true, and we verify it. We find that video, and I don't know. I mean, I'm happy with this result. Other people will probably look at this and they'll be like, "Oh, well, it's not trustworthy and whatever." It's a map. It's a map. It's an initial map of what's out there. Think again. Stop thinking about it as an answer. Start thinking about it as sort of a fancy search result. And I know that everybody will go, "Oh, but it's vector space," and it's like, "Oh, it's just a stochastic parrot," and so no. Think of it as a fancy search result. This is an abstraction layer, right? Oh, sorry, I'm getting a little geeky now. This is an abstraction layer on top of a set of informational resources below it, some of which are accessible to us and some of which are not. But it's an abstraction layer, just like a search result is an abstraction layer. And, again, like the map is not the territory, right? Like that means other things as well. But it is an imperfect representation of the underlying information environment. It's a start, though. And so you take that, and when you track it down, that's you going out and saying, hey, was this map correct in the ways that matter? Right? And in this case, in a lot of ways it mattered. It is right. Like this was a worst case scenario then. That's worth mentioning. It's worth mentioning that, Florida has lost coastline. It has lost coastline. Not a ton, but it has lost coastline. It isn't this, that's a piece that's worth knowing. But this particular piece where it says it did not specify a 25% figure, this turns out to be wrong. Probably turns out to be wrong because the people talking about it do not mention it, and it's not going directly into the video like we did. But we tracked it down, and we got to the truth. So there you go. Track it down. And have a great Friday.